So, my fiance tried to tell me that her affair was just a test, so I said goodbye and left. Let me start from the beginning. Yesterday, I met my fiance at our wedding venue for our 4-month anniversary. So, I met my fiance at the wedding venue yesterday to finalize the details for our 4-month-old baby. We drove to the venue separately because she was leaving straight from work. Towards the end of the meeting, she told me her friend was dropping off her rental car and needed a ride home. She asked if it would be okay, and I said yes, thinking nothing of it as it wasn't that far from our home and I know her friend well. I get home and try to get in touch with her for the next 3 hours, but there's no answer. At approximately 1:30 p.m., I text her friend and ask, I was really worried when she didn't make it to her okay. Then my fiancée came home and said sorry, it took longer than expected. She hung out with her friend for a bit before leaving. No biggie, just let me know next time, please. Her friend got back to me a few minutes later and said sorry. I couldn't make it to the venue. You didn't see your fiancé tonight. I asked her why she would say this, and she said she didn't know. She can't control what her friend says, and walked outside. I'm really confused. I'm out AF by now. I've never done this before, but I checked her phone records and it was worth it. I saw that she called her friend when she went outside, and that friend had texted me right after she went outside. I also saw a 1-hour call with a number I didn't know on the way to the venue. I asked her what rental place they went to and asked her a few other questions. She gave quick answers that seemed legit. I thought, maybe I'm crazy. I need to chill and sleep on it. This morning, I'm thinking the same. I asked her to please see the text from her friend asking her to pick her up, and I apologized for questioning her the previous night. She said no. I said, when I caught up with you yesterday on the way to the venue, I saw you were on the phone. Who was that? She said, oh, that's the friend I picked up later on. That's when I knew for a fact she was lying. I looked at her phone records and knew that wasn't true. She then changed her story to say, oh, I needed to meet up with WA co-. I'm going to talk to the worker about a patient who is the co. I'd like to talk to you about a patient. I'm not sure if we can do that over the phone, but I'd like to show you the techniques in person. His name is Michael. I'm really surprised by this. We never lie to each other. I asked to see the text with Michael, but she wouldn't let me. I said, why not? If there's nothing to hide, are you having an affair? Do you not want to be together anymore? She paused, and then told me all the things that are wrong with me. I'm amazed at this point, because I'd never even thought about it. I said, why not? If there's nothing to hide, are you having an affair? Do you not want to be together anymore? She paused and proceeded to tell me all the things that are wrong with me. I work too much. I don't spend enough time with her. I don't listen to her. I was astonished at this point. All of this was news to me. I put 2 and 2 together, and I knew something was amiss. I asked to see the texts again, and it took about half an hour to convince her to show them to me. They were crazy sexual in nature and talked a lot about me, as well as how she wanted to be with him and how they're essentially in love. She started this job one. He's her colleague, and he's 15 to 20 years older. He's also divorced and has multiple kids. I've been financially supporting her for the last few months as she got back on her feet and was working extra so she wouldn't have to pick up a part-time job. We own a house, which we both live in with 3 dogs and a horse. Sorry for the novel, but I'm beside myself right now. I didn't see this coming, and we were going to get married in 4 months. Any advice would help. Update 1. Just to let you know, I finally had a chance to sit down with her tonight and go over this again. She came in blaming me for what she did and trying to justify the cheating and lying by saying it was my fault she didn't communicate or listen. She said she wouldn't have had to start talking to this guy if I'd been listening better. I spent too much time in the office and not enough with her. I tried to explain that I was putting in extra hours to support her and the family while she was struggling, so she wouldn't have to get apart. She said she would have preferred a part-time job, which I don't understand. She thought that because this was short-term, it would be fine to work part-time. She said she would have preferred to get a part-time job, which I didn't understand. She thought that because this was a one-week thing, we could move past it. When I mentioned the text where she was trashing me and talking about sex with him, she deflected hard, and I got nowhere with that. I told her that I'm not the reason this is happening. She went too far and should have communicated with me or thought about the implications first. But I could never trust her again, and it's all because of her actions. Whether she wants to try and say it's my fault is up to her. At the end of this part, it got a bit calmer. I said, listen, we just really need to figure out the house we own together and the 3 dogs. We decided that either I'll stay and buy her out, or we'll sell and get new places. The dogs, one of us will get one, the other 2D. So that's where we left off tonight. I'll keep you all posted on progress. I'm curious what you all would do about the house financially. I can support it alone, but it's nearly 3,000 square feet and 5 acres of land, which was bought solely to have her horse. She's taking the horse when she leaves and boarding it at a barn. Update 2. On the 3rd day, I had a long chat with her. We talked about our relationship and what had led to what happened. She said I'd done some things wrong in our relationship, like not talking enough and spending too much time on my phone. I don't disagree with any of these things. I did all that to support my family. I run an e-commerce business as well, and I'm a one. On the 3rd day, we had a long chat tonight. We talked about our relationship and what had led to what happened. It started with her telling me what I did wrong. Not talking enough, spending too much time on my phone. I don't disagree with any of these things. The reason I worked so much was to support my family. I run an e-commerce business on the side, and I'm a one-man customer service center with deals happening 24/7. I am never not on the clock. I could have been better about putting my phone aside and responding to people the next day. We were both at fault for the lack of communication, and a prime example of this is the fact that I was unaware she was unhappy. She never told me, but she said she felt I would have got upset if she had. I am not a perfect person by any means, and often I do or say things that she sometimes thinks I'm being rude. The other week, for example, I was helping her with her budget and financial problems to try to set up a plan to get her on track. I work in the financial industry and do this for clients all the time, so I know what I'm doing. She said she owed me about $1, which she'd get back to me next paycheck. I said I think it's a little bit more than that, so let's go through the transfers I've made to our joint account. It turned out to be more than that. So, I gave her $5, and I wasn't trying to make her feel bad. I just wanted her to realize how much I've been contributing. But she took it the wrong way and thought I was trying to humiliate her. She said I've been too focused on money lately, but I was only trying to make sure we were going to be okay. We still had quite a bit to pay for the wedding, and my budgeting mentality was on overload, trying to make sure we had enough. The fact that she keeps trying to justify what she did by attributing it to me is a bit frustrating. I'm really not bothered about the fact that she thinks there's a direct correlation to my flaws. She keeps telling me she's surprised I'd throw away 7 years of a relationship like this. I keep having to remind her that I didn't throw it away. She did with her actions. She says I told too many people too quickly, and we could have resolved all of this between us. She also said that she wouldn't have had to talk to someone else if I was a better listener and communicator. I finally figured out the extent of the affair, which I actually believe. From what I read, they started chatting about a week before the viaduct text. I'm not sure if they'd met up outside of work before, but this time he asked her to the park for a basketball game and a chat. She met up with him, and they ended up kissing. I really don't think it went any further, but I'm sure it will in the near future. I'm sure she says he's not her boyfriend. She also left tonight, so I have no idea where she is. Assuming she's with him or a girlfriend, it's an awkward living situation, but I'm hoping this is sorted soon. I do think she wants me to get back with her and try to sort things out. I think the main issue was a lack of communication, which went on for ages. We got into a routine, lived our boring, simple life, and meanwhile, this problem was never discussed and grew over time. She acted out instead of talking to me and also lied to my face, as well as talking a lot of rubbish about me behind my back. She can be very sneaky, and I don't think I can fully trust her again. Obviously, this would be the easiest. It's something I should do, but I don't think I'd ever be truly happy. I've had a bit of a think about it, and I feel better for understanding the root cause. If nothing else, it'll help me work on my personality flaws and communication issues, and see things from another perspective. I hit the gym today, and we're going to keep the routine going. I'm also planning on getting back to studying for my CFP designation. I took the week off work to focus on my mental health, and I called the wedding venue today to officially cancel the date. We were able to get some money. I'm back, but I'm a bit lost, unless we can resell the date to another couple, which is unlikely. I also spoke with her parents again to keep them in the loop. They live far away, and I'm sure they're worried sick. I keep telling them everything's fine and calm, and they don't need to worry about their daughter. I did some research and found out today's interest rates. I won't be able to find them. I'm back, but I've been a bit all over the place since it happened, to be honest. I've been trying to get back with him, but it's been hard. I also spoke with her parents again to keep them updated. They live far away, and I'm sure they're worried sick. I keep telling them everything's fine and calm, and they don't need to worry about their daughter. I did some research and found out today that I won't be able to find a comparable house for the mortgage I pay for. I can barely find an apartment for less nowadays. I think my best option is to try and buy out her share and have her find an apartment she's agreeable with. At this time, we'll have an appraiser out to assess the value and see what half of the equity would be. I'll see if that's doable for me. My questions to you all are, does this change? I'd like to know if you think I'm handling this properly. If not, what should I do differently? Update. It's been nearly a month since everything went down, and I owe you all an update. It's been a very busy, emotional, and eventful month, so I won't lie. The few days after it happened, I was a mess, begging to get back together with him. I know I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm trying to get my head around this situation. I've been doing everything I can to make things better, but nothing's worked. I was actually told that she had to choose between me and him, and she chose him. That's when I realized I'd let myself down. I'd let my self-worth go down the drain, and I needed to take a step back and focus on me and what was best for me. It's hard after 7 years of doing everything for someone else to focus on your own needs. But that's exactly what I've been doing since I moved our joint savings accounts to my individual checking account. I did the math of what was owed to me and transferred half of the balance back to the joint account for her to take. I've been working out every day since this happened, and it makes me feel good to not only improve how I look, but also to think clearly. I've gone suit shopping, for a massage, and out with friends and family. This relationship was isolating for my friends and family, which should have been a huge red flag. I've been working out every day since this happened, and it makes me feel good not only to improve how I look, but also to think clearly. I've gone shopping for a suit, and I've even gone out with friends and family. This relationship was isolating for my friends and family, which should have been a huge red flag, but I never did anything for myself. I was always worried about providing for my sick mother and animals. I've been seeing a therapist for the first time in my life, and I go every week. This helps me talk things through and make decisions. I'll probably carry on seeing her after the situation resolves. I've been keeping busy by selling the house. I've even got an agent on board. I'm not one for buying clothes, so I'm not worried about that. I've always been a provider, but I've been struggling to make decisions lately. I've been seeing a therapist for the first time ever, and it's helping me think things through. I'll probably keep going even after the situation's sorted. I'm still living with my ex. She's in the guest bedroom, and we're at a point where the only thing we talk about is, "Did you feed the dogs?" I think she's a terrible person. No matter what I say, she thinks it's my fault. I'm the one accused of being a bad communicator and using it as an excuse. She hasn't communicated her feelings to me, and she's been cheating on me. She thinks she's a great communicator, but she's just a hypocrite and an excuse maker. I've been trying to reason with her, but she's unreasonable. I've been keeping things moving by putting the house on the market. I contacted an agent. They're happy with the proposed sale price, and then she asked me to contact them. I tried to talk to her about how she was acting, but she just dismissed me. I thought she was being two-faced and using me as an excuse. I stopped trying to reason with her because she wouldn't listen. I've been trying to sell the house. I spoke to an agent. They seemed happy with the price I suggested. So she asked me to speak to 2 other agents as well. I did all the calls, set up all the appointments, and met with these people. This is how the relationship always was, and even though it's not fair, I've been willing to do it all to get out of here. After meeting with all 3, we ended up going with the first agent. Pictures where I met with 2 other agents and asked for their opinions, one of whom was recommended by her friend. Yes, I made all the calls, set up all the appointments, and met with these people. This is how the relationship always was, and even though it's not fair, I've been willing to do it all to get the hell out of here. After meeting with all 3, we ended up going with the first agent. Pictures were taken on Sunday, and the house was listed for sale on Sunday night. There's an open house next Saturday. It's already getting a lot of attention on the receipts. She's going to take the horse to a barn somewhere, TBD. I had a conversation about the dogs and offered to take one or none. She said she would take all 3 of them to keep them together. They're a happy bunch, and I'm not going to fight over taking one if that'll break them up. It also selfishly allows me to make a clean start. I met someone about a week ago who I've been spending quite a bit of time with. I have no false expectations, but I'm enjoying hanging out with her. She's been through a similar situation in the past and has been helping me through this. It's really eye-opening. It's so refreshing to chat with a kind, thoughtful, and independent woman. It makes me realize what a narcissist my ex was. When I first met my ex, I didn't realize how narcissistic and manipulative he was. I should have listened to my family and friends' warnings a long time ago. I got into a routine and wasn't enjoying life. It was easy to keep things as they were. Nice house, lots of land, great animals. I didn't want to rock the boat, so I just continued as I was. You don't really realize this until you take a step back and truly reflect. Some might say it was wasted time, but I'm really using this as a learning experience. I will not ignore red flags in the future. I'm not going to make the same mistakes as simplicity. I'm going to keep in touch with friends and family. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who commented on my original post. I posted on Reddit because I didn't know what to do. Those of you who took the time to help a stranger on Reddit are amazing. I read every comment, and they all helped me get to where I am now. I'm looking forward to the next chapter in my life, wherever it takes me. Thank you all. It's been ages since I last posted about this. Can't believe it's been over 4 months now. It's got so much better in that time, and hopefully if someone's going through the same thing, they'll see that time heals everything. I shared the house with my ex until mid. It was tough being there with her and the dogs, knowing that my life as I knew it had ended. We were roommates who didn't like each other, and I tried to avoid her as much as I could, but it was impossible. We stayed in different bedrooms, but the dogs were allowed to roam to and from at night. Doors open after the first few weeks. She stopped sleeping out, and it didn't happen almost at all for the rest of the time at the old house. The constant texting and phone calls, however, did not. I think they decided not to pursue a relationship, but remain friends. I don't know for sure and didn't care enough to ask. She moved out in mid, moving out in May, along with 2 of the 3 dogs, was awful. I felt like I was losing a loved one. During my last month there, I met up with the ex and 2 dogs at a dog park a couple of times. They recognized me and were happy to see me, but I could tell that they were doing just fine without me. It was good to see how well they were doing without me. I didn't really talk to the ex that much, other than about how the dogs were adjusting. She moved to a rundown house in a rundown area, to put it nicely. There was a yard for the dogs, but it wasn't fenced. The last I heard, she was working on finishing the fence. During this time, I hit the gym every single day. I also put a lot of effort into my side hustle. I knew life was going to get expensive and wanted to prepare myself. In the time period from March to June 15th, when I moved out, I had done 6 figures in sales at this side hustle. I also made 0 big purchases, which allowed me to save a significant sum in addition to the proceeds from. I worked my socks off on my side hustle too. I knew life was going to get expensive, so I wanted to get ahead while I could. From March 15th, when I moved out, I had done 6 figures in sales on that side hustle. I also didn't make any big purchases, which let me save a lot. On top of the money I made from the sale of my old property, I was able to comfortably afford a nice house in a nice area with a decent-sized yard for the dog that stayed with me. Selling the old house was easy, but buying the new house was absolutely brutal. Thankfully, the buyers of my old house let me rent it back from them for a month until June 15th. I made offers on 5 houses and finally got the last one accepted towards the end of May. It's great being out of the old place. The memories associated with that house haunted me every day, especially after my ex left with the other 2 dogs. It was just very empty. Moving was a bit of a pain, but friends and family were really helpful. I've now been here a little over a month, and it's starting to feel more like home every day. I'm still seeing the same woman, who is now my official girlfriend. I live a bit closer to her now. She's great, and I'm really lucky to have her in my life. She helped me get through this, and she's been really understanding about my need for space and my emotional ups and downs. I've never been with someone who communicates so well, and it's making me a better communicator. My emotional intelligence has also grown a lot. Life is good. While this was one of the hardest things I've had to go through, I feel blessed that it happened. I was going to marry a completely self. I was so comfortable with my daily routine and didn't want to disrupt my pets' lives or lose my house, so I was willing to put up with being miserable. I'll keep working on myself and learning more about my own wants and needs. I'll also keep making sure my dog has the best life possible. I do think about my ex regularly, though. I was so comfortable with my daily routine and didn't want to disrupt my animals' lives or lose my house, so I was willing to put up with being miserable. I'm going to keep working on myself and learning more about my own wants and needs. I'm also going to keep providing my dog with the best life possible. I think about my ex regularly, and I have flashbacks of good and bad memories. My new therapist has been extremely helpful, helping me realize that I probably won't ever get the apology from her that I want. She's just too proud to admit what she did was wrong. I've had very limited communication with my ex. I don't plan on seeing her or the other two dogs again. I've accepted that this is what is best for everyone.